Yeah, I think that's enough. Yeah, this will work. Boys, look, this is how it's gonna work. For last before Ramadan, oh, can you see it? I have to move over. I make it over. Can you see it now?
Oh, okay, I'll just go back.
Okay, whatever. It's fine. It's all right. This is the best what we could do right now. Okay, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم آمين يا رب العالمين. We're running out of time, so tonight we're going to be utilizing half an hour. I know that I'm not sure 3 or 4 weeks, but let's say whatever it be. Prior to the Ramadan, what we're going to be doing, I'll be going through a couple of things that about the Quran and all these things. Other day we went in the halaqah. Hassan Ali was with me, so he had this sort of exposure that we'll be talking about the Quran because next month it will be a month of the Quran. And these slides, I have other slides. I'll be sharing those slides with you guys. So I'll appreciate that you guys start now. So you'll be having 8 weeks altogether. So you'll be able to see what is in the Quran because everyone tells you we need to have the Quran, this and that. So yeah.
Is the halqa going to be in Ramadan or as
No,
usual?
no, Ramadan. But what I'll be giving you is these previews that why it is so significant that from day one we always hear from our parents and that we need to have the Quran study. We need to have the comprehension and all those sort of a thing. Even in the Salah, what we mostly recite, beside the Azkaar is the Quran. So Surah Fatiha, when we say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Rahman Rahim, it's the Quran, and then the surah is the Quran. We need to understand what is this, what's in the Quran. So why it is important that some people they they yeah, you can repent whenever. This is how it works, but this Quran is a guideline for us. So the easy example is if you buy a motorcycle or the games or any gadgets or phone or maybe the vehicle, right? So you need to have this manual book to be read, what fuel goes in and how often you need the maintenance and all sort of thing. You don't want to get this thing done when your vehicle is on the edge of the junkyard and it is about to be buried. Buried in our time, like in human life, we get buried and these vehicles would be get crushed. So at that time, you find the book and you said, "Oh, the reason this vehicle was not running appropriately because it was under warranty, and now the warranty is not getting covered because they asked me to put the maybe 98 or 95 of fuel, and I've been filling with the diesel, so it did not work, and we were misusing and abusing." So we don't want to end up our life being in a graveyard as a sinner. And we said, oh, we used to see the Quran, we used to hear about that, but we did not read it. So how we could have act upon? So this book need to be act upon, need to be lived upon, so we can do. We have our lifestyle accordingly. So in your age, it's ideal that we need to understand because once you are like the Hassan Ali's age, so once you are in that age where you might be at school and some of your mates are saying, "Oh, let's do this some silly things," you need to tell why it is not appropriate to do these things because Allah told me in the Quran. And maybe parents are not watching, maybe teachers are not watching, but Allah is watching, and the consequences are very severe in the graveyard. Do we know that the young people they could go to the graveyard, right? So that's the thing. Now, do you guys know what's in the Quran? Not you, because I'm not going to be giving you a chance because you already have the halaq of this. Yes?
Inside the Quran, there's like seerah of Prophet, and there's like talking about other prophets.
Beautiful. So the prophet stories, all the prophet stories, not all, maybe most of them, at least 1 second. Yellow. Yes?
There's like a guideline of what we're supposed to do when we're not.
Beautiful. So there's the two-way alam. نجعل له عينين ولسانا وشفتين وهديناه النجدين. Allah said to us, the rough translation is, didn't I give you the two eyes and two lips and a tongue? So didn't I tell you what the both ways, right and wrong? So you can't decide. So this thing, this machinery up there, so it is an intellect. So we need to use this thing to, yes, Mahib? I was imagining that your hand was raised. I pushed your hand up. Yalla, what do you think? What could be in the Quran?
The, the bad things you're not meant to do. And the
Beautiful.
need to do.
Beautiful. And we call those things excellent. So we call these things don'ts and do's. So do's and don'ts are also in the Quran. Yes, Jibril?
About why we should not listen to shaitan and how to do wudu.
Exactly. So about the biography of the shaitan, where he started mocking with us and all these things, and Adam alayhi salam get into the trap. So we know about the character then shaitan and all these things. So yes, Abdullah.
Not to do shirk.
Not do the
Shirk.
shirk. Beautiful. What is that shirk?
Shirk is like a very like bad sin. Like it's, for example, like you compare someone else to Allah.
Beautiful.
And say, like, for example,
Associating
your
partner.
Your friend is Allah.
Okay, so associating partner with the Allah, and it is if a person dies, on the shirk, he is not being forgiven. So now the thing is here, a lot of people they interpret the Quran, and sometimes new people they try to interpret the Quran and we think that they are right. So what are the criteria we need to understand? So these are from very professional people, big scholars. I know that this might, what I'm going to go through initially, this you guys might think that it's a big and heavy subject, but I'll try to break it down with you guys. So I'll try to make it very easy with you guys. And then what we're gonna be doing, because we have only 25 minutes today, and what we're gonna be doing, we will start this journey of the Quran. What are things in the Quran, and then gradually over the period of next 3 to 4 weeks, we'll see how many weeks we're gonna. I think probably next 3 weeks we'll be talking about the things that are in the Quran. But prior to go and explore the Quran, we need to understand who do we really listen. A lot of people nowadays they talk about the Quran and things. So this is a thing that we're going to be talking about. That I'll be going very quickly. So what is the tafsir? That's one thing. And do you guys know what is the tafsir?
The meaning of Quran.
Yeah, beautiful. That's very close. Meaning of the Quran. Foundation of the ilm al-tafsir and development of the ilm al-tafsir, book of the tafsir and methodologies, and basically who we really, who are the qualified people and who are whom we should be listening about the Quran and tafsir and all these things. 1 second, wait. So this is the definition you can read through, but I highlighted few things for you guys. This in the pink, you follow my pen. So basically, definition linguistically, um, terms in Arabic, tafsir means the clarification and the explanation. So it is from the word, what they call is you might see here FASR, but it is actually the word is fassara. Fassara means that you give the details. So fassara, which means making clear and the uncovering. So let's say if this phone is in this, so I'm uncovering. So I'm telling you what this is about. But once it is inside, so I can't really tell our phone would be like this and like that. But more I expose this thing, it is in front of you guys. So more you exposing, you're telling what is the things. So making clear, disclosing something that which is covered. And there are a few other things, but we will just keep up to that. That is important, that the tafsir is the clear meaning of Quran. So the definition of the tafsir in Islamic terminology. So in Islam, we obviously have the different terminology. The branch of the knowledge through the book of Allah is understood, its meaning or explained, ruling, and derive or lesson or learn. So the tafsir, there's another word. We will be talking this word later, but you have to remember few. I'll be giving you 2-3 words today. I'll be giving you, I'll tell you upfront, ta'wil, ma'thur, right? And basically riwaya, and there's another strong word which is coming, where people can give some opinion. So who are those people who can give input in their opinion? So anyone can give opinion because I'm reading the translation. I'm now having the authority. Do you guys think so? Whoever is going through the commentary, or I mean the translation or bit of understanding, do you think they can tell this is what it means in the Quran?
The Quran, yes, because
No.
they'll know a little bit of the Quran, so they'll know because, and a lot of people say that like the sort of if they read sort of Fatiha, they'll know because it tells most of the Quran in like one surah.
Yeah, but if some words are there, anyone can give his own opinion. Yes.
No, because some of the imams and stuff, they need to give the proper explanation for it.
Okay, so what the criteria is supposed to be in that Shaykh or Imam?
Because
So this is what exactly we're going to be learning. So don't do the main reason we are learning these preliminary things, that don't your mates or someone who is reading from the Quran, the translation at school, and he'll be saying, "Oh, look at this in the Quran." This no, these are moms doesn't. I'll tell you these few criterias. So one person here, we will actually read this thing. Few people who has the really authority. So we need to remember one person, at least one person's name, Sahabi Abdullah ibn Abbas, right? He was a mufassir, the person who actually explained. He is called a mufassir. He was one of the mufassir, and
what is
the tafsir, fassara. So fassara, giving explanation. Tafsir of the Quran, explaining explanation of the Quran, right? So the person who is actually giving this tafsir, he is a mufassir. So person who is explaining the Quran, right? So another name of the tafsir is ta'wil, interpretation, which is taken from the root word awwal. Okay, I don't want to go into the details, but basically this word ta'wil appears in the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, who said, basically it is very close to the tafsir. So Prophet Muhammad said, "Will Allah enable him about Ibn Abbas. So whenever you are saying in the Tafsir book of the Tafsir, if you see this person's name, the great companion Ibn Abbas, he's saying, it means he's a big deal. Because nowadays, I don't want to tell you after this, because we are online, I don't want to tell this person's name. Some big scholar, American Pakistani, he's also, I'm not sure why people are getting confused in these things. And some people nowadays, they're thinking that the music is not haram. Do you know Abdullah ibn Abbas? He said, I swear to Allah, that particular verse in the Quran, it is about the music, which is the, okay, I'll leave that one. Lahu, oh yeah. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Everyone, hold on a second, because it's getting very technical here. When this person, this great companion of the Prophet, he is saying, I'm taking an oath, I'm swearing by Allah, this is regarding about the music, that lahu al hadith. So how come people, they not trusting him? Look at the hadith what from Muhammad sallam he mentioned. He actually make a special dua of that companion. He said, oh Allah, enable him to understand issues of the religion and teach him ta'wil, so he will be able to interpret, meaning tafsir. And Ibn Abbas became known as scholar of the Ummah, which is a Hebrew Ummah. What is a Hebrew Ummah? Hebrew Ummah. What is the Hebrew? There's a verse in the Quran about al-ahbar. So why you're taking your ahbar as your gods? And ahbar means the you know that the rabbis and the Jews, big bosses, like their scholars. Ahbar, Hibar means the ink. Before, even when I was a child, I used to have, I used to do this special writing. I used to love it. So that would be a special ink and special pen. You dip it in the ink and then you write a little bit and dip it.
Fountain pen.
Yeah, fountain, but those are not the pen. Those was made of a wooden sort of a thing.
Oh, feather.
Yeah, so not the feather, it was a wooden thing. So they would dip it and even the feather. So when you're dipping the ink, obviously your these two fingers would get dirty out of ink. So that ink called hibar in Arabic. So ahbar, they were always either they were flipping the pages and the hibar, the ink would get into your hands, or this person, that Hibr al-Ummah, that he was learning so much so that he that's why he was called Hibr al-Ummah. Yeah.
Does akhbar mean newspapers?
That is akhbar. This is ahbar, Hibr. So he's like a big name. So they found these are the 9 steps you should understand. These are very important things. How we are going to interpret the tafsir. So the tafsir, first thing is we take it if Allah Himself made the tafsir very loud and clear in the Quran. So the first thing, we are doing the tafsir of the Quran through the Quran. How? When, one second, if only thing today, if you're not getting it, only you need to have that question. Not other, because we have very short time and this is a heavy subject. It's a scholarly level thing. So I know it would be a challenging for you guys, which is fine. That's why I'm here to break it down. I make sure that you guys understand that. Okay. A lot of people nowadays, they go jump into the tafsir and the translation, and they don't actually know all these things. And when they say, oh, this, the Mufassir, he said this thing and he said this thing, man, we need to know how these people, they compile this book. It is a scrutiny work. So how, number one, if Allah Himself has, yes, Marbita?
I want you to say something about the music when you said before.
Okay.
There was in music it's totally haram, but there's an exception on Eid.
Okay. Exception on Eid
Yes.
of a daf.
Yes, only.
Only a daf. You know what is the daf? It's not the music.
It was only on Eid, like.
No, but what is a daf? The daf is a drum, beating of a drum, one-sided drum. It's not like in our culture we have a dhol, dub dub dub, it's a noisy. Not that sort of a drum, beating the drums. No. Or nowadays in the modern culture where we have these drums. On the day of the Eid, or if you want to celebrate some, so it can be only with the one-sided daf. Yeah, that is only allowed. So we need to differentiate. That's the fiqh question. But we need to understand on Eid day, we cannot have the party sort of music. Okay, we'll come back about the tafsir of the Quran through the Quran, right? What does it mean when we say, all of you guys know this thing, when we say, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'een. And then, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Show us the right path, right? Now, mustaqim, sirat. Maybe a person would say, okay, this is a sirat, and this is a sirat. Allah Himself, He said, what is the sirat? Sirat al-ladina, the way which is this. These are the criteria, not the way of these bad people who went to the astray and who went to the wrong. No. So Allah Himself told us what is the Sirat al-Mustaqim. So this is what of the example that the Quran is explaining maybe later ayahs. So another one we can say, Al-Qari'atu mal-Qari'ah. Very famous. So Allah is saying Al-Qari'ah. And then Allah Himself is explaining. How come you know about the Qari'ah? You don't know about the Qari'ah. And then Allah is saying, Al-Qari'atu mal-Qari'ah. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْقَارِعَةُ. Then Allah will start elaborating what the Al-Qari'ah is. That is the day of the judgment. The big shake gonna happen. So this is number one. The tafsir of the Quran from the Quran. If there is a sufficient explanation in the Quran, we don't need to go to the number 9. Make sense, boys? This one is clear. Each step I want to make sure that you guys are clear. And I'm gonna the reason I'm putting in this Facebook, because I'm gonna be people who miss the halaqa, we're gonna be putting in this thing anyway, so they won't miss it. They need to catch it up. Clear, boys?
Yeah.
If you guys clear, then it means I'm doing my job. So if you guys can comprehend this thing, believe me or not, this is a very heavy subject. A lot of adults, they don't know this thing. So I'll really appreciate it. I'm so super impressed if you know this thing. After the Quran, if you do not have enough hints in the Quran, then the second thing you go in the list, which is, look there, the second thing in a row,
Sunnah.
Sunnah, which means
What the Prophet Muhammad does.
yes. So which means yes,
Like his practices, like what he used to do.
yes, which is called
Sunnah.
Sunnah, but in the book of all of his saying, all of his actions, we compile is in the book of
Quran.
Hadith, right? So Quran is Allah's thing. Hadith is Prophet Muhammad's actions and his saying. So sometime Prophet Muhammad he used to ask his companion, and he used to elaborate. There's a verse in the Quran about the timing of the Ramadan, and when you really about the Fajr time and this one, and it is about the Khayt al Aswad and Khayt al Abyad, the thread. The Khayt means normally it is a thread, right? So he said about the white and the black thread. And the companion, one companion, he used to have these two threads under his pillow, and at the dark time, he used to see these threads. And Prophet said, no, this is not the thread Allah is talking about. Allah is talking about that the fine line is on the horizon early morning, where it really split from the dark to the day. So we see this light. Once this is on, that is the timeline. So who explained this thing? Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu. So the second thing in a row, if there is a sufficient explanation in the book of Hadith, that is the second thing we have to get the information about the Quran. Make sense? Is that clear, Abdullah? I'm might be asking you guys this thing. If you're not understanding, that's why I'm taking my time. You have to understand that this is so important. Hassan Ali, especially you. Yalla, everyone got it?
Yeah,
What is after that? If
reports from Sahaba.
what does that mean? Is
Like what the Sahaba say, like when the Prophet Muhammad said, tells them something, they go like and say.
beautiful. So the understanding of the companion of the Prophet Muhammad, because maybe we do not have the sufficient chains in the book of the hadith, but some of the companions, when they were doing and they learned from the Quran, from Muhammad Sallam, if they're saying something and they have like Abdullah bin Abbas, if he is taking an oath, if he's saying, I swear to Allah about one particular thing, sufficient enough to rely on him. So Sahaba is this third in a row. And the fourth one is, Yalla Mahir, what is the fourth one?
Arabic language, grammar, and
Nahu, right? And Sarf. So a person who is a mufassir, who is giving the details, he should know the Arabic language. Like, I'll tell you an example. I have given this example. There was a big sort of a sheikh in all times. We all know him. So he was explaining. He used to give the explaining, like he was a big sheikh of the Quran, and there was a Bedouin sitting there, and this Bedouin, he was sitting there, and this big sheikh, look at that. When he was saying about the ayah, he was giving the details about the explanation about the chopping the hands of a thief, and at the end he was saying, Wallahu Ghafur Rahim, that Allah is very merciful. This Bedouin, and he was a big sheikh giving many hundreds of people this teaching. He said out of nowhere, he just said randomly, he was a random person, Bedouin, like he doesn't have enough knowledge. He said, who said that? Like, so who said that? And the scholar, he said, obviously Allah said that in the Quran. He said, no, Allah did not say that. People were offended because he was a big sheikh. No one dared to even talk about that. He said, they were about to beat him, that he's insulting our sheikh. He's a big brand of that time. And then the sheikh, he said, no, don't beat him. He said, are you Hafiz of the Quran? And this Bedouin said, no. He said, do you know about this chapter? Do you a Hafiz of this chapter? He said, no. He said, okay, have you memorized this ayah? He said, no. He said, how come you are saying this is it's not from the Allah, it's in the Quran? He said, no, it's not in the Quran. He said, how come? He said, now this is my language. Because remember, Quran revealed in Arabic language, but only few people they know this. It revealed in in Bedouin language. It is like a real Bedouin, but of that time, they used to have the Fusha. They used to comprehend not only the words, but what is the whole understanding, whole. Allahu Akbar. We are late. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allah Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. حي على الصلاة. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله دعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وبعث مقاما Okay, so this person, when the Bedouin, he was saying, oh, we're gonna finish in next 5 minutes, inshallah. So this person, he said, this is not from the Quran, and the Shaykh, he kept on asking, because he challenged him. Though he was not even memorized, he was not even a scholar, he did not have any knowledge, but he knows his language. He said, in our language, it won't fit in Arabic. He said it won't fit when you are giving the ruling of execution or of chopping the head of punishment, and at the end you're saying Wallahu Ghafur Rahim. Allah is very merciful. It won't fit. And then they checked the Quran. Shaykh was doing the mistake. So it wasn't there Wallahu Ghafur Rahim. It was different wording. So he understood that this even part would not is a misfit here. So Allah is Ghafur Rahim. Whenever you go throughout the Quran, when it is mentioned, there is always about the mercy of Allah, and the context must be accordingly. So even the context have to fit in. So these people were so smart. So a person who is a mufassir, he should have enough knowledge of Arabic language, not about the word-to-word translation. No, he should know maybe this word fitting in the 5 different places, or maybe sometime even nowadays. I was giving an example other day that the khat is when a line. But if you go in the Arab world, we used to talk with our friends and we said, okay, yalla, take a khat. You know what does the khat mean? Take a khat means get on the highway. So you should not only know about the only translation. You should know where the Arab they use this phrasing, and maybe they use for something else of that time. So another one is about the ilm al-bayan, which is the this goes into these the next 5th one and 6th one is I'll tell you about the Asul al-Fiqh, the principle of Islamic. Look, these ones is in Balagha. So sometime we make something to make this thing to be more elaborated. So we have to have these sort of the knowledge too. So the person, he should have complete grip of the fiqh, usul al-fiqh, and the rhetoric. Number 7 is modes of the recitation of the Quran. There are 14, right? But the 10 are very famous. So I'll just give you an example. Do you guys know that about about the, if I said, okay, you have to point me out what is the difference. If I say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin, and if I say, you have to point it out, where is the difference? Maliki Yawmiddin, Maliki Yawmiddin. Where's the difference? Maliki and Maliki. So is this Maliki Yawmiddin is wrong, or which one is right? Malik is right? Right? Oh, so I was doing mistake, right? I was saying Maliki Yawmiddin, right? But in other narration, this recitation also there. So it means Malik, which is the king of that day, or a Malik, the master of that day, two different meaning. But this little bit of here and there, this is also acceptable. If I have to read completely of that type of the recitation, in that particular recitation is Maliki Yawmiddin. Like, you know that I used to have the friends from the Mauritania. If I used to it used to be very fascinating. We recite وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. You know how they used to recite, which is another recitation. وَالضُّحَى. See, it's amazing. So I do not even know how to say all things. So this sort of a thing, this is what they call the modes of the recitation in the Quran. So this person who is actually giving the tafsir, he should know all this different recitation. The reasons of the revelation. Asbab al-Nuzul is so important. We won't be able to give a tafsir if a person, he does not even know the biography of the Prophet Muhammad. That's why we're learning from the Jibreel and Hassan Ali, how these ayahs of the Quran was revealing at that time. It was in the Ghazwat Badr, it was at the Hijrah time, it was there and there. So once we know what was the background, we'll be able to comprehend a bit, deeper. Make sense, boys? Yeah. And then number 9 is that which abrogates and that which is abrogated, which is nasakh al-mansukh. Some, initially, when the Quran was revealing, not nowadays, some rulings were temporarily, and Allah then changed this one, which is in our hand, this mashab, it is the final one. So some of the ayahs was basically abrogated. So he should have the knowledge of those things too. So you can see that how hard task a person would have if he has to go all these 9 criteria in one go, not like one of them, no, 2 of them, no. He have to have all these 9 knowledges, then he'll be able to explain the Quran. And he'll be, let's say if someone is getting sufficient information from 1 or 2, he doesn't need to go to the 9 to have the contradiction. He can have the number 9 or number 8, number 7 to support number 1 and number 2. But once you are getting sufficient information from number 1 and number 2, then you don't need to have to go through the number 9. Make sense, boys? I know it is very heavy subject, but I appreciate that you guys have this thing in your mind, and inshallah next 2-3 halaqas we'll be talking about what is in the Quran. If you guys cannot tell me that you understood today, I'll be super impressed. And if you have a question, you please let me know now.
I've got